Now good afternoon from Djuma, everyone, and what a great little start. We've got one of the male lions, one of the Birmingham coalition members, lying in the shade. It has been a bit warmer this afternoon than it was yesterday. Still cloudy, some cloudy conditions, but the males, a few of them are lying in the shade. And my name is Byron, and on camera with me this afternoon is Sebastian. And as you know, it is just me in Djuma for the next week. So it should be quite fun. We'll see what we can find. We've had an amazing last 2 days. We've had leopard, lions, elephant. We've had so much. And those brand new little Nkuhuma cubs this morning. We got to follow the female, and she took us straight to them. So that was really exciting and a wonderful surprise. We just decided to come and have a look at these males this afternoon, just to see if they are still around. And there are still 3 males, but they've spread out somewhat. I haven't been to the carcass yet. We just saw this one lying in the shade. You can see panting heavily. He's probably very, very full. The flies are bothering him. And he's just resting for the moment. We'll drive a little bit closer to the carcass and go and have a look, see if there are, or how many of the other lions are there. I think there was another vehicle, and they said there was one at the carcass, and I can see another one lying in the long grass. Perhaps the 4th one is around somewhere, or maybe he has moved down to the water. Not sure. We'll have a look around. No. There we go. Time to lie down with a full belly. Shall we go and have a look at the carcass, Seb? Let's go see. Let's just see what is happening over there. And then nice to have James and Scott with us in the Mara this afternoon. I think hopefully they're well rested after their last TV show. James, of course, wouldn't need rest. He's just another level. Oh, look at this. There's the other male also lying down and belly up. Well, I'm going to move a bit closer to the carcass and just see if there is any activity, maybe vultures. But while I do that, let's head across to James all the way in the Mara and find out how he is doing today. Hooded vulture that is trying to take a chance by the looks of things. I wonder if it's brave enough. No, we're at the carcass. Have a look. There's one male lying close, right next to the carcass. They've moved it though. Look at that. They've actually dragged it. What is that? About 40 meters, I would say. 30, 40 meters. They've dragged it now. I think the theory was, watch the vulture. Hooded vulture, quite brave, trying to sneak up, possibly get some food. Now, as I said, these lions have dragged this carcass about 30 or 40 meters from where it was. I think the reason for that is trying to get it a little hidden and trying to hide it from all the vultures. It looks like there's a lot of feathers on the ground already, so I assume there may have been some vulture feeding earlier on today, and the lions eventually had enough and decided to move this carcass. But these males are very, very full at the moment. There's a feather, you see, there's some feathers around. That's why I say there's some sign that the vultures did feed earlier. Sinak, you asked, or you said this is a beautiful vulture. What other species do we have? Well, the ones that are more common in this area, Sinak, is this hooded vulture, then the white-backed vulture, which we've seen, and we've seen a number of them on nests in that too. And then also the large one, the largest of all, is the leopard-faced vulture. They're the white-backed vultures and the hooded vulture. So both in one frame there. There we go. Awesome, Seb. So those are the three species we see mostly in this area. We have seen the Cape Griffin. I think it's now called the Cape Griffin, which we also get in this area from time to time. What else? The white-headed vulture. White-headed vulture. We do get in this area too. So the Cape vulture. It's actually a Cape vulture. It's not the Cape Griffin. It's a Cape vulture. I think another name has been used as the Cape Griffin, but Mr. P, all the way in Canada, you asked if vultures can be dangerous to people. No, Mr. P, I don't think so. I think I've never heard of a vulture attacking a person. They don't choose to fly off, obviously. Look, I think if you were buried in the desert, like those old westerns where they left you out there to die for the vultures, then possibly there could be a danger. But nowadays, no, I've never heard of a vulture attacking anyone. Some flies on that carcass. Well, you see, this vulture's brave, but the bravery is paying off because it will most likely get bits of meat. Oh, you see, as soon as that lion moves, that vulture gets a bit nervous. And vulture's not interested in hanging around. Sorry, I didn't hear the name properly. Mastroma, I think that's how it's said. Sorry if I'm saying it incorrectly. So you asked, do we have crows or ravens that feed on carcasses? Well, no. And the reason for that is the crows and that are not. They're actually not indigenous. They're not meant to be here. So they're actually vermin. But we do have them in parts of South Africa, and they do feed on carcasses on roads and so on. But out here, hopefully we won't see them because they're not meant to be here. But they do occur in South Africa. And some grey hornbills calling. Oh, here comes a vulture swooping in. Almost looks like a plane landing gear out as it flies in to land in the tree. And look at all those vultures in that tree. This carcass is quite a potent stench at the moment. Now, we were very fortunate again this morning. We had all three of these males calling, all four of the males calling. That stench is not very good, is it, Seb? Now, I think what we're going to do this afternoon is I'm going to drive around a bit more. I've got the entire Djuma to myself. So I'm going to drive around a bit more, see what else we can find, and return here a little bit later. And hopefully when it cools down, we might have some more activity. Maybe the other males join, feed a little bit more, or move closer. I think that's what we're going to do. So let me move on, and while we do that, let's head across to James all the way in the Mara and see how his afternoon is going. Well, thanks Scott and James, and nice to see the lions all the way in the Masai Mara in infrared. Now we've got two males at the moment still feeding on this carcass, but listen to them growling at one another. Males, doesn't matter if they are related or not, they get very aggressive with one another when there's food involved. Some fiery-necked nightjars calling in the distance. What a great end to a really fantastic afternoon. Might be able to hear some of those growls. James, there's a possibility of a jackal or two showing up at some point, but I think with these male lions around, chances are unlikely at the moment. Also, we don't see a lot of jackal in this area, but I have seen black-backed jackal in the northern Sabi sands, and also the side-striped jackal, which we've seen a few times on these clearings. So there's a possibility. Maybe once the lions have moved off, a jackal or two could come in and try and feed off the scraps. Again, a big thank you to Scott and James all the way in the Masai Mara. And what a lovely afternoon. I hope you've all enjoyed it. Thank you to Rebecca in Final Control and Megan, whose birthday it was today. Really lovely day. I mean, we had lions in the Mara, we had elephant up there, we had the lions here, we had a leopard, and James had the cheetah. So there was a lot going on this afternoon. So much for us to view and appreciate. Hope you've all enjoyed it. What an amazing day, and great news on those 3 new Agama prides. So a big thank you to all of you as well. And don't forget, we'll see you again, everyone, tomorrow morning for our sunrise safari. We'll see if these lions are still around. I'm sure they might call this evening. But thank you again. And from the Safari Live team, we'll see you all tomorrow morning. So, good night, goodbye, have a great day, wherever you are in the world. Bye, everyone.